Season 41, War number 2, and we are up against PBT. This time around my team will be Tigra, Valkyrie and Odin. I'm gonna have some use for the pre-fights as well as the synergy with Valkyrie here in a bit. I'm taking path 1 in section 1, then that Nova on the root node, path 7 in section 2, as well as that Nick Fury and Rintrah on the shared fights. And finally I'm gonna be taking down the Doom boss with Tigra. I don't have any mini-bosses in the boss island since they didn't really fit the team I was bringing, but that's fine. I still got some fights, but it's not gonna be as busy as it usually is. Up first we have a thing on the personal space regeneration node, and I'm taking this fight with Tigra. I went ahead and placed Odin's protection pre-fight here to make my Tigra fights a bit safer, namely the boss fight that I'm taking, but it is nice to have for the other fights as well. Now, since I do also have the synergy with Odin and Valkyrie, the protection pre-fight also gives me a bulwark buff, giving me extra block proficiency, which is very helpful for Tigra when I'm trying to bait heavy attacks and getting some blocked hits in. Now the game plan here, as always against Thing, is to just make sure you manage your rock stacks well, so that you never leave him at 15 at the end of your combo, heavy or special, and then you don't have to worry about anything else. The regen buffs get shut down by Neutralize and Despair if any of those slip through. The Unstoppable, as long as you manage the rock stacks, will never trigger, so there is nothing to worry about. Tigra takes him without any real issues in under a minute. Then we have a Spider Ham on the Masochism Overtime node, and I'm taking this fight with Valkyrie. I went ahead and placed Odin's shock resistance pre-fight here for Valkyrie, so that I have the shock resist for a hazard shift fight later, and so that I also get the bulwark buff from the synergy. Having the bulwark on Valkyrie should make her immune to stun debuffs, but for whatever reason, at the time of taking this fight at least, the synergy is a bit bugged and Valkyrie doesn't gain the stun immunity from it. But that's alright, it should still increase my damage output on the special 2s, and that's the main reason why I wanted it in the first place. Now the game plan against this Spider Ham here is to simply just hit him until he drops either into block or directly, doesn't matter. Then I'm baiting special 1s, mainly because the special 2 I'm not even gonna try to dex that, no reason to. If he throws it I'm just gonna block it, and that's about it. Now as soon as I get to my special 1, I do throw it to dump my power, so that Spider Ham doesn't gain too much of his nonsense. Because once he reaches 6 or more, he's gonna start randomly evading, and that is when the issues begin when fighting him. He has 3 now, since I was too slow throwing the special 1, but that's alright. I'm not gonna get any of those power sting debuffs on me, unless I'm gonna be stunning him. And since this is the Masochism node, I didn't wanna trigger any debuffs in the first place, so that wasn't an issue. I did take a little bit of block damage there, but it was a pretty simple fight. Next up we have a Nova on the Scared Stiff and Power Focus 2 nodes, and I'm taking this fight with Tigra. Now normally I don't like taking Nova with Tigra unless it's necessary for the plan, and this time around it was. Now the reason why I don't like taking Nova is because of his power gain with dashing back and forth, the block damage he does, and his AI is also a bit weird. He doesn't really want to throw those heavy attacks. But the worst of all is the damage reduction on unblockable hits, making my special 2 hit a lot softer than it should. Now the game plan here was to bait 2 heavy attacks at the start with an advanced power boost to get to my first special 2, throw it and then just go from there. I didn't even get him down below 50% with it due to the damage reduction, but he was playing nice after that, got a few heavy counters in, and I got to nuke him down with the second special 2 without him actually getting to use a single special himself, so that went alright, but I just hate fighting him with Tigra. Anyways, next up we have a Nick Fury on the Hazard Shift Shock and Bleed with the Conflictor node as well, and I'm taking this fight with Valkyrie. The game plan here is to only hit into his block, so that he never triggers any of those Hazard Shift debuffs on me. He doesn't gain any tactical charges from me hitting him, and he doesn't gain that much power either, so he can't spam his specials. This is a fairly slow fight, since my own power gain is heavily reduced by only hitting the block as well, but it's a very safe one, and as long as you play it properly and manipulate the AI decently well, it's a pretty simple fight. Now, I still had the advanced power boost from the Tigra fight earlier, so that helps speed things up a little bit, but still, this is not gonna be a nuke fight by any means. And right there, instead of throwing my special 2, I went for the non-contact combo inversion first, to get at least one bulwark up before the special 2 to increase my damage further and to make myself immune to stun debuffs. I really don't want to get accidentally re-parried or something if I miss a light input somehow, so it's just to make this fight a little bit safer. I didn't need to do that, the special 2 would have got him pretty low anyways, but it is safe to do, so might as well. Now, a minute and a half into the fight and Nick Fury is down halfway in his second life, so this is going decently well. Still at full health, Nick Fury is playing well, throwing his special 1s pretty often without having to bait them too much. And, well, all I really need to do now is just hit his block a few more times, and the block damage with the pierces as well as the instant bleeds are gonna take him down the rest of the way. I was thinking about going for a special 1 into the block there, but since he did throw the special 1, he now counters evade, so that's not safe to do anymore. Unfortunate, but it only delayed this fight like 10-20 more seconds at most, so not really an issue there. Finished the fight at full HP, did take a bit over 2 minutes, but Valkyrie does work very well for that. Then we have a Mantis on the second wind unblockable and power creep nodes, and I'm taking this fight with Valkyrie as well. And this fight is really nothing special. As long as you don't let Mantis use her special 1, she doesn't really do anything, and you can take her down with basically any champion. I wouldn't recommend using science champions against her though, because science champions simply just can't inflict any debuffs on her due to the debuff ability accuracy reduction she has. Now, the reason why you don't want to bait her special 1 is because it inflicts the encroaching sleep on you, which is basically an encroaching stun, but instead of being a stun effect, it's a sleep effect that no one is immune to. So, to avoid that, simply just push her to her special 2, and she becomes very easy to fight. Special 2 is also extremely easy to avoid, you simply just get away from her, and that's it. 2 simple hits, no projectiles, nothing like that, so anyone can easily avoid it. Now, as soon as I get to my special 2 here, this fight is over. I built up 2 of my personal bulwark buffs and all the pierce buffs, so the damage output with that passive Fury was pretty damn good. Now again, not the fastest fight, since I mainly hit into her block to avoid giving her too much power, and that's just how Valkyrie is. Next up we have an Apocalypse on the second wind unblockable and make a stand nodes, and I'm taking this fight with Tigra. Now, as far as Tigra matchups go, Apocalypse is one of the harder fights for the spacing, or at least that's how it would look like, but with a little bit of practice it becomes very simple. The spacing for his SP1 is constant, it doesn't matter if he's in the corner or in the middle of the field, the spacing stays the same. Now that being said, I did mess it up there, I was too slow on my dashbacks, but usually you just dash back 3 times, throw 3 light attacks, and then just hold heavy, and that's the spacing. Very easy to do, it's always the same, and with a bit of practice you can land it every single time. But yeah, since I was too slow on the first one, I just for some reason couldn't react in time, so I didn't go for the 3 and 3. I instead did 2 and 2 to play it safe, because I really don't want to eat the special one. The special one inflicts a weakness debuff, which shuts down Tigra's miss and unblockable mechanics, so that would have made the fight a lot scarier going forward. Then we have a Rintrah on the Reacher and Aspect of Evolution nodes, and I'm taking this fight with Valkyrie. And since I have the Odin's pre-fight, I have 2 unique buffs on me to start the fight with, combined with Dexterity, as well as a Pierce buff I get from getting a combo of 11, making sure that I always have more unique buffs than Rintrah does. And that gives me constant power gain from the Reacher node, making this a very simple and a very satisfying fight at that. The goal is to only hit into his block the whole fight and spam special 2s into his block as well, and that's all there is to it. This is a very easy fight to do for Valkyrie, and she is one of the best options for Reacher nodes in general, as long as you can make sure you always have more buffs than the opponent. And that is pretty easy to do if you just use the Odin pre-fights anyways. Not even a minute goes by and he goes down. Valkyrie still stands at full health, absolutely no issues there, and 0 risk of dying. Then we have the final fight of this war, a Dr. Doom boss that I'm taking with Tigra. Now the key to this fight is to have Mr. Fantastic's Petrify pre-fight active, because Petrify prevents Doom from activating his aura, meaning you can just keep baiting the special one and punishing it with your heavy attack, and it makes the fight very simple. Now I did use an advanced power boost to start with the power of power, because I do need to keep knocking Doom down to refresh the debuffs, so having a bar of power at the start just allows me to do that easily. But all that being said, this Doom is a dirty cheater. I bait the special one, punish it properly with the proper spacing, my first heavy hit connects, and the second one misses in the corner. It just whiffs, and then Doom just immediately starts a combo of his own, which could have ended very badly. The special one I threw to save myself as well, whiffed on the first hit, and if Doom held his block then I would have been screwed. The Petrify debuff would have fallen off, which would have meant that I can't bait the special ones anymore. I would need to switch to baiting special 2s and punishing those, which just means the fight is a lot more scary than it should be. Now luckily the special one did land, because Doom was dumb enough to try to throw a heavy attack during the special animation, and I got the fight back on track, but that was very scary. I did not want to lose my deathless streak to something like that. As for the results, we did end up winning the war 7-1. A great war for us.